here's the situation. Dr. Laura is going to step in it. Okay, oops. I mean, that got between her toes. Okay, she is going to start talking to an African-American caller.
Yes.
And get herself in a world of trouble.
Right. Now, let me give you some context to the caller. A woman by the name of Jade calls in, and she has a white husband who allegedly has racist friends. Okay.
Yeah, no, and she says it. Let's listen to the first part of the audio, okay? Because the caller's going to explain it. Let's watch.
Jade, welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Laura.
Hi.
I'm having an issue with my husband where I'm starting to grow very resentful of him. I'm black and he's white. We've been around some of his friends and family members who start make racist comments as if I'm not there or if I'm not black. And my husband ignores those comments, and it hurts my feelings. And then he just acts like he
Well, can you give me an example of a racist comment? Because sometimes people are hypersensitive. So tell me give me two good examples of racist comments.
Okay, last night, good example. We had a neighbor come over, and this neighbor, every time he comes over, it's always a black comment. It's, oh, well, how do you black people like doing this, and do black people really like doing that? And for a long time, I would ignore it. But last night, I got to the point
I don't think that's racist.
Well, the stereotype.
I don't think that's racist. No, I think that, no. I think that's, well, listen, without giving much thought, a lot of blacks voted for Obama simply because he was half black. Didn't matter what he was going to do in office. It was a black thing. You got to know that. That's not a surprise. Not everything that somebody says. We had friends over the other day. Got about 35 people here. The guys were going to start playing basketball. I was going to go out and play basketball. My bodyguard and my dear friend is a black man. And I said, white men can't jump. I want you on my team. That was racist? That was funny.
How about the N-word, though? The N-word's been thrown around.
Black guys use it all the time. Turn on HBO, listen to a black comic, and all you hear is nigger, nigger, nigger. I don't get it. If anybody without enough melanin says it, it's a horrible thing. But when black people say it, it's affectionate. It's very confusing. Don't hang up. I want to talk to you some more.
Done that. Okay. First, you shouldn't have said all that. Second of all, you shouldn't have come back for it because you're going to get yourself in more trouble in a second. But, you know, Anna, looking at it from first place, so she says the N-word. Nobody's allowed to say that anymore. And she said it in a way that appeared to be a little hostile, right?
Right.
But I think the rest of it was actually worse.
The rest of the call is worse, but the part of this conversation that I think was bad is she started the conversation by already establishing or already assuming that the woman is hypersensitive. Like, she didn't even really give the woman a chance to explain her situation. She was just like, yeah, sometimes people are hypersensitive, so why don't you explain to me why you think your husband's friends are racist?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The rest of what she's saying to the caller is, I think, much worse. She said her assumption is, oh, here comes a black person going to whine again. Or you're hypersensitive. But well, hold on, you don't even know. You don't know. They might have said terrible things. So look at her first assumption, no matter what, right? And then second of all, she says, okay, all black people voted for Obama because he's half black. It's a black thing. Well, then how come Alan Keyes didn't get 98% of the black vote? Alan Keyes is a conservative Republican, African-American who's run for president and gotten approximately 3.5 votes. Okay, so apparently it's not a black thing. It's that African-Americans, by and large, happen to be ideologically progressive.
Right.
And Obama was the progressive candidate, so they voted for him.
But again, look at her assumption. Oh, these black people are uneducated. They don't really know what's going on with politics. They just voted for a black man.
Right. And then finally, what are you talking about? Some of my best friends are black. Look, I got this bodyguard, and whenever I go to play basketball, well, of course I'm going to ask my black bodyguard. I mean, I love my help, and my help is all African-American. And so when I need their physical help, you know, of course I call them over. I mean, how loaded is everything she's saying with these enormous assumptions and stereotypes?
I know.
So if she just said the N-word like, hey, wait, you know what, the comics say it, and boom, said it, I don't think it would have been nearly as bad as having said it in all that context. All right, now, if you thought her use of the N-word a little bit there was bad, wait till you get a look at what happened when they came back from the break. Let's listen.
Jade, what did you think about during the break, by the way?
I was a little caught back by the N-word that you spewed out, I have to be honest with you. But my point is race relations.
Oh, then I guess you don't watch HBO or listen to any black comedians.
But that doesn't make it right. I mean, race is a big
My
thing.
dear, the point I am trying to make...
to another level that's unacceptable.
Yeah, we got a black man as president, and we have more complaining about racism than ever. I mean, I think that's hilarious.
But I think, honestly, because there's more white people afraid of a black man taking over the nation.
They're afraid.
If you want to be honest about it.
Dear, they voted him in. Only 12% of the population's black. Whites voted him in.
It was the younger generation that did it. It wasn't the older white people who did it.
Okay. All right. All right. Chip on your shoulder. I can't do much about that. Yeah, I think you have too much sensitivity
it's okay to say nigger?
and not enough sense of humor. Oh, it depends how it's said.
Is it okay to say that word? Is it ever okay to say that word?
It depends how it's said. Black guys talking to each other seem to think it's okay.
But you're not black. They're not black.
I see. So a word is restricted to race. Got it. Can't do much about that.
I can't believe someone like you is on the radio spewing out the nigger word, and I hope everybody
I didn't spew out the nigger word.
Nigger. And
right. I said that's what you hear.
Heard it.
Yes, they did.
I hope everybody heard it. So what
they did, and I'll say it again. Nigger, nigger, nigger is what you hear on HB. Why don't you let me finish a sentence?
Okay.
Don't take things out of context. Don't double NAACP me. Leave them in context.
Means, and I know it came from a white person, and I know the white person made it bad.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can't have this argument. You know what? If you're that hypersensitive about color and don't have a sense of humor, don't marry out of your race. If you're going to marry out of your race, people are going to say, okay, what do blacks think? What do whites think? What do Jews think? What do Catholics think? Of course there isn't a one think, per se, but in general, there's think. And what I just heard from Jade is a lot of what I hear from black think. And it's really distressing and disturbing. And to put it in its context, she said the N-word, and I said on HBO, listening to black comics, you hear nigger, nigger, nigger. I didn't call anybody a nigger. Nice try, Jade. Actually, sucky try. Need a sense of humor. Sense of humor. And answer the question. When somebody says, what do blacks think? Say, this is what I think. This is what I read that if you take a poll, the majority of blacks think this. Answer the question and discuss the issue. It's like we can't discuss anything without saying there's isms. We have to be able to discuss these things.
Did you notice how she pressed the word black every time? She never said black. She always said
black. Yes.
Okay. And you got this black think, right? Now, look, I don't think the N-word is nuclear. And people might disagree with me on that, but we've used it in different contexts. For example, when I'm quoting somebody who said it, right?
Exactly.
Okay? And we've had really honest discussions about race on this show. Everybody knows that, right? But it's all about context. When you listen to her context, it gets so much worse, right? She says, one of my favorite things was, she said, look, all you black people voted for Obama because he's black. When the caller said, look, older white men didn't vote for for Obama as much, then she turned around and instantly said, oh, you got a chip on your shoulder.
Right.
So Dr. Laura doesn't have a chip on her shoulder for saying that all black people think alike and that they all voted for Obama without thinking about it at all. But once the caller says, hey, you know what, demographically, older white men didn't vote for Obama, it's like, oh, you got a chip on your shoulder. Still complaining, blah, 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 from this N-word. Okay? And, when she thinks racism is over, or ironically, right? She should listen to herself. Did you think that was all going to go away because you elected a black man? No, that's it. Racism disappeared. And you people stop complaining about it already. Just let us do it, and you shut up about it.
All these hypersensitive activists, black activists.
Yeah, and another thing that was revealing there, she said, oh, don't take me out of context. Don't double NAACP. Okay? Don't NAACP. Wait a minute. That got done to the NAACP. They didn't do it.
Exactly.
And I assume she's referring to the Shirley Sherrod story. She's the one that was taken out of context. The reaction of the NAACP audience was the one taken out of context. What did the NAACP do that was out of context? You know what I'm saying? Did they do that to somebody else? Because in Dr. Laura's mind, as you listen to her, black people are always guilty, and they have no sense of humor, and they keep complaining, and and it's their fault. And then she talks about sense of humor. Where was the humor in any of that?
Yeah, exactly.
Was she trying to joke around? It didn't sound like a joke, right? It sounded pretty serious about her comments about the elections, her comments about people's chip on their shoulder.
I think when she said sense of humor, she was referring to the woman's husband's friends joking around about black individuals. And she thinks that you should have a sense of humor about that.
Look, there's a conversation to be had about that. But can you understand how it might be annoying to some folks that people like Dr. Laura think a great sense of humor is, I want to play basketball, so let me get a black guy. That's just funny. That's just, white man can't jump. That's funny. Okay? Black man can jump. She doesn't even get that might be like a little annoying to folks.
Right, absolutely. She's crazy.
All right, so at the end of all this, she realizes, oh, yeah, that put me in trouble. Okay, so she's going to have to come out and do an apology.
Yes.
So I can't wait to hear this.
So she did apologize on the following day during her program. She said, "Yesterday I did the wrong thing. I didn't intend to hurt people, but I did, and it makes it the wrong thing to have done. I was attempting to make a philosophical point, and I articulated the N-word all the way out more than one time, and that was wrong. I'll say it again, that was wrong." And then she continues to say, "I pulled myself off the air at the end of the hour. I had to finish the hour because 20 minutes of dead air doesn't work. I'm very sorry. It just won't happen again."
Yeah, after having listened to her rant, does anyone really believe she's sorry?
No, I think that a program director pulled her aside and said, "Look, you can't use the N-word 11 times in the time span of 5 minutes.
And that you're going to lose your sponsors."
Yeah.
And then that made her very sorry.